Interesting. Okay. I'm hearing you.
Okay.
I'm following
And
the
I
path.
also think that a lot of times you hear men complaining about she let herself go because he wants to be visually stimulated.
Do we have to keep talking about this topic? Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Femme Tell All podcast. My name is Madison Bellissimo.
And I'm Ruth Devereaux.
I said Madison Bellissimo.
Slower.
I know. I'm like, we are ASMR. I guess that is podcast, though.
Yeah.
It's like some version of ASMR.
It's like a couple levels below.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we can do it this way, too.
Yeah. Anyway, this week's episode. Oh, God. I'm so sorry. That's insufferable. Okay. We're so happy you're here. Thank you for bearing with us. And this week's episode is about Is love
blind? Is it?
Is love blind?
I've been watching the new season. I hope everybody else is too. And I hope we can talk about the drama because I'm super frustrated watching some of the couples. But it did bring up the question, do we think that love is blind? And I have a hot take on it.
Yeah.
In my personal opinion, I think that it can be for women. And the reason I will say that is because I've seen plenty of women become very attracted to their partner whom they were once not attracted to once they fell in love.
I'm like, when they have those filters where it's like your face becomes a clown, that's where I'm like, can we edit that? Like, make me become a clown during that. Same. I have many times.
Yeah, I think a lot of women have. And I think women fall in love through kindness and acts of service and like feeling cared for and like, whereas I believe men are very visual. And because men are visual, I believe they have to love what they see through their eyes to love.
That's a really hot take.
That is a hot take. Come for me.
Yeah. I'm going to be the rest of the public coming. Well,
what do you think? First off, what do you think?
My thought is actually that, yes, love is blind. And it's so beautiful that we can do that in this society. I do believe it. I've seen it plenty of times, like you said, specifically with women and their partners. But I've seen it many times where like the oddest pairing will come together.
Name a guy. Name one guy that was not physically attracted to a girl and then fell head over heels and then started viewing her differently.
I'm sweating, guys. I'll think.
Okay.
I'll think while we record today's episode. Will, if you have any resources. I'm like, I need. Will's behind the camera. Because I really need. I want to prove that point because I feel like there are. God damn it! No, I don't know. I think there has been. I think
maybe in the history of people, there's been one caveman back in the day that saw a girl drawing. And she was so skilled.
And he was like, okay.
The like imagery of like the drawing, brilliant. Well, yeah, I think. Maybe not attracted. I think there is always some kind of attraction. So I'm kind of proving your point here. But I do think I've heard of men being like, oh God, I would never date a woman like that. And then they date exactly what they like.
Yeah, because
said
the characteristic he thought he didn't want came in a package that was very pretty. Then he's like, I can put up with this.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard more often than not that like a guy will talk about if he's complaining about his girlfriend, his wife, his fiance, he'll be like, yeah. And she's, she can be bossy, which I don't love that word, but, things like that. And he'll say, yeah, and she kind of, steals my credit card sometimes, whatever, like I'm saying weird, crazy, dramatic things right now. But then they'll be like, but, I mean, she's gorgeous, and you're like, huh, okay. If you're okay with
Yeah.
going into credit card debt, I'm bringing it back.
She ruined my credit score,
Yeah,
but she
but
sure is a looker.
That fucking ass, you can't put a price tag on that ass. I'm like, okay. I'm like, you can though. You can. So please tell me how this theory developed for you. And please tell me maybe some examples.
It's through decades of personal observation. Like you said, so many girls that I know. So I also believe there's a lot more attractive women than there are attractive men. And you often see women who visually, if you're just basing it off of very base level looks, are with somebody that maybe you wouldn't think they would be with.
Huh? Yeah.
Are with somebody you maybe wouldn't think they would be with. But he's kind and he's loving and he dotes on her and he makes her feel good and she loves that man. On the other hand,
I'm just like cackling over here, but continue.
On the other hand, I've very rarely seen a man that the first thing he doesn't talk about his partner would be looks adjacent.
How beautiful she is.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, I'm hearing you.
Okay.
I'm following
And
the
I
path.
also think that a lot of times you hear men complaining about she let herself go because he wants to be visually stimulated.
Do we have to keep talking about this topic? Okay, yeah. No, I hear that. I really do. And yeah, I've experienced that. I've experienced with myself specifically and friends that have dated someone that they weren't initially attracted to. They just are like, yeah, him. And then they're like, him, you know? And I think that is so beautiful. Like, I think the concept of is love blind? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And at least I'll speak on my experience. There's been times where love wasn't blind for me. I was like, oh, God, look at that guy. Look at that man. And then I get in the room with them.
Exactly.
And I'm
so
like,
here's the other thing that I've had guy friends tell me and that I somewhat agree with. Like, we can meet the most attractive man in the world. And if his characteristics are off, like if his character is off, if his intelligence is off, if there's anything that the ick happens to us, we're like, ugh, like his looks changed for the negative too. A man can separate that. A man can separate it and say like, yeah, she's XYZ and I don't like it, but she's fucking hot. And like it won't change for them.
like, yeah, we've talked to our mutual guy friend where he was like, we were like, could you sleep with someone that you hated? And he was like, absolutely. And I was like, oh, what?
Yeah.
I was like, that is the craziest fucking thing I've ever heard.
I couldn't.
I could never.
couldn't. If I hated somebody,
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
No, I couldn't do it. Like,
But I think the majority of men would say that they could. Well,
No.
but is Will in the minority? Who knows? But because I think that there are,
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that. Trust
you.
me, like
Yeah.
that like restores
Yeah.
faith in humanity. But I'm like, I think he might be in the minority because
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think
Yeah.
they can separate church and state.
I'm sure we'll get some comments.
Yeah,
on this.
yeah. They're gonna be like, "Fuck you guys," but
Yeah.
I'd still fuck you. Okay, I'm like, that's most of
Yeah.
our comments.
Yeah. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I'm just like so plagued by this because
Yeah.
I agree with you. And on the funnier side of it, like I've definitely had a man over that was gorgeous and he like sits down on my couch and the first thing out of his mouth is like an insult about my couch. And I was like, and then he said something that was like not very intelligent. And I was like, if you say one more word, I'm not going to sleep with you. So like either get some tonight
That's almost
or
more
leave.
depressing. Like that, not even almost more. That definitely is more. I remember actually I met this guy that like I had obsessed over on social media. Gorgeous man, gorgeous. Like, and then I see him in person. I'm like, gorgeous. And then like zero intelligence. like not even like a minute piece of it. It was just like I don't know how he's made it this far in life. Like, but gorgeous. And after that, like
You're not attracted anymore.
No.
Yeah, which, that's the funnier side of it. Not funny, but like the ironic side of it, that women, at least from our experience, we've been initially very attracted to someone, and then something about their personality or the inner workings of their brain has made us go, not anymore, my guy.
Sir.
You could never get it.
Yeah.
You know, like, and that's wild. I think that's wild. When I think it's not as much of and this is obviously lust right now. Lust is
Totally.
Lust is blind, technically. I don't know, for women again. I don't know. Then more than love. But I think that confirms your theory of when I've dated people, when I've had like my most like intimate, deep relationships where I was having very clearly the most sexual, like, you know, where you're having the most intimacy, physical intimacy, which would be lust or something like that. And I'm only able to be so attracted to them because I know who they are as a person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very true. I have a question for you.
Please.
So you want your partner to view you as beautiful though, right?
Yeah.
And beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So even if wouldn't that be, isn't it almost like you want to feel, so wouldn't it still be a good thing? Even though like we were making joke and like, obviously you don't want to be judged just on your looks, like, but you do want your partner to view you as beautiful.
100%.
Yeah.
I'll do you one further.
Ooh.
I will say, I've talked to my therapist about this. I've like read so many like fucking articles and even watched TikToks on this where it's like women like to be and feel desired. In order for us to be sexually aroused, we need to know that you're into us. And that is absolutely proving that point of like, even though, of course, the like memes of like, would you still love me if I was a worm? You know, like, like I love that shit. I'm like, I love women. I love women on the internet too. I'm like, I love you guys. But that always makes me laugh because I'm like, would you want, of course, theoretically you would want your partner
to
love you
in
exactly.
all states of
If
being,
you ended up tomorrow losing all of your looks because of some freak accident or something like that, you would want to know that they're not there just for your looks.
Yeah.
However, I feel like a lot of the go ahead.
Sorry, I just want to say again, coming back to the beauty's in the eye of the beholder, because like I still think that there's something that I've seen men obviously love their women's through like horrific things that have happened to them. But I think that if you found somebody attractive and you've even like as again, I'm only speaking from as a woman trying to pretend I'm in the male perspective. And I think that if you fell in love with somebody and you fell and like looks was like an element of why you fell in love with them and something happened to adjust those looks, like I think you would still see them in that way.
Yeah.
Kind of like how I still look at my niece and I still see her as a baby even though she's in her 20s. Or like as like we age together, you would still view like that. Now your brain can't see them any other way because that's what you love.
Yeah. That's such a beautiful, beautiful thought. And I think when I'm crying watching videos on the internet or watching a movie, it's always like, you were more beautiful than the first day I saw you. And they're like 90 years old and you're like, that's the kind of love I want, you know?
I know.
So I agree with you. I think that you would want that in a partnership, no matter the gender, no matter, you know, the configuration there. But yeah, I do think as a woman who is in heterosexual relationships, I do like feeling desired. So I think if I've even dated guys in the past that were so lovely because they were mostly complimenting all of my personality.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, I would beg for that any day. You know, you're like, I want you to see me who I am. But then there's a portion of it where I'm like, do you not think I'm cute?
See?
I put on this dress. What do you mean? You don't think
Tell me I'm pretty.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's a part of my attraction to them too. Like in a weird, fucked up way, I think women are taught to be attracted to the people that are attracted to them.
I always wonder if we're taught or if there's like generational things from like the way that science is and like how like our chemicals work in our brain. I wonder like what it is. Like, are we taught, or is it innate in us? Like that, I don't know.
That's a good point, because if you're correct as far
Yeah.
as like men need to be physically attracted in
Yeah.
order to be in love, and women don't for the most part,
Yeah.
then theoretically for continuing to keep the procreate,
Yeah.
to keep the generations going, to
Yeah.
keep a
Well, evolutionary, like they say that women are more attracted to men of like with the stronger genes, because like it means their offspring will be stronger. Whereas maybe there is something where men are attracted more to like the physicality, because. But then there's there's been studies done too, like that's why men like maybe like the wider hips, because childbearing hips. Like,
hips, yeah.
like, so is it taught to us? Is it societal? Is it through media? Or is it something evolutionary?
Yeah. I mean, I like the idea of evolutionary, because I could see where it's like, if you want to be in a long-term committed relationship, you're going to choose someone that is attracted to you,
Yeah.
because you know he's less likely to stray if he's attracted to you. But not that that's ever like if
But
he
no, that
likes
is
you.
so that evolutionary, like what you want is don't want somebody to stray.
Yeah.
Because if you are to have a child, you need somebody there to
help
protect.
provide and
like that
yeah.
is brain-wise evolutionary.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like if it's just from gait,
Yeah.
from like Neanderthal days.
Yeah. We're not that far away.
Interesting. Very interesting. Again, back to the romanticism of love being blind. I'm like here for it. I want it. I'm like, I theoretically would want my boyfriend to be like, I don't care what you look like. I just want to be with you. But then there is some times where I'm like, why do I spend so much money on skincare and hair and like my clothes usually when we're peacocking a bit?
Yeah, absolutely.
We're attracting the opposite sex.
Yeah.
We're doing these things like if genuinely, and correct me if I'm wrong, and this is going to be an opinion piece, as it all is. If we knew that it didn't matter if men were attracted to us, would we be putting on makeup? I think some women would. Would we be walking around in sweatpants and like baggy jeans and stuff like that? Or would we be wearing thongs? Like, would we,
to be fair, at home, Neil only gets the no makeup sweatpants girl.
Yeah, and when you're in a relationship, but funny enough, and correct me, if this hasn't happened to you, I feel like a lot of the times when I've dated guys long term where they've seen me with the glasses, retainer in, it's a pretty sight. I'm telling you. I've gotten the experience where they're like, you're so beautiful, and you're like, now? Right now? I'm like, oh my God, don't tell me that. But okay, thank you. But like also like, oh, don't tell me that.
Well, the only reason like I don't like it is I'm like, you fucking liar. Like I can't
really
trust anything you say.
Do you think it's a lie? Because I don't think it's a lie. I think men, when they develop feelings, because they probably were initially attracted to that, and then I think it comes back to the theory of when women date a man, it starts at 100, and the more they get to know him, it like depletes.
Yeah.
And a man, when he starts dating a woman, it starts at 0. And the more he gets to know her, like that's why by the like couple months into the relationship, the guys feel more like they're like simping, or more like I'd do anything for her, when she's kind of like, when she first meets him, she's like, oh my God, he's perfect. He's great. He's I can't talk enough about him. And then in a couple months in, you're like, how's your boyfriend? She's like, he's good. He's good. We're good, And so, not that that's foolproof, but I think I don't think it's a lie, because I would think that Neil, the now spending over a year with you, he truly does find you beautiful without your makeup. Like, I don't think that's a wild concept.
No, yeah.
I don't.
No,
think
I'm
I
sure he does.
do.
I'm sure he does, and I'm sure I think there's definitely truth to what you're saying. I think that there is that love that builds, and there's that like seeing somebody in all their forms of like of who they are, and still seeing the beauty in them because you find them beautiful. But again, like that's why it comes back to like when I like might look myself in the mirror, I'm like, oh, I have a pimple, or I have this, I have that, and he's like, oh, you're beautiful.
He doesn't
like,
see it.
He doesn't see it, but it's still. And to be fair, like when I first met Neil, like he never saw me in makeup until our first date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Because you were going to his workout classes. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that there is something to be said about like men can develop it. Like they can develop that true weakness for their partner so that like by the time that they are seeing them like let go or like not done up or what have you.
I have another question for you. Sorry.
Ooh, no, go ahead.
Do you think women tend to have more of a type or men have more of a type?
Ooh, that's such a crunchy question.
Because I don't feel like, and like if I think of like the string of guys that I've dated in my like life, I've dated the like short, tall, like muscular, more thin, like multiple different races. Like I've never had like a steady like, oh, this is my type and this is what I stick to. Like I've been attracted to the multitudes.
Yeah.
But I feel like maybe men have more of a type.
I will say I have when I'm looking at a guy, when I'm interested in a guy and I'm trying to do some recon as far as like, would he find me attractive? I do look at the past women that he's dated and if they look similar to me, then I'm like, I got a shot.
Put me in, coach.
Yeah, exactly. Put me in. I can dazzle this man. I know I can. You know, I'm like, that's my personality is going to carry me. I'm like, let's go. So that's where I do think I do subscribe to the fact that men have types.
Yeah.
I think I've always said I had a type. I always was like, big fucking talk. Everyone would be like, what do you like? And I'd be like, fucking big, tall, big, like muscular. I want him to throw me over his shoulder. And I'm like, I haven't really dated that. And when I've dated or like fooled around, when I've fooled around with men like that,
I'm like,
it's
tomfoolery.
Yeah. When I've slept with men like that, it's not a night and day difference.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the guys that I've been like worshiping at the altar that is them have been like usually skinnier guys that are like not much taller than me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, it's so funny. Like, that doesn't matter. Like, by the time I'm there, could not give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like, I really could not give a fuck. So, yeah, I think I used to talk a big game where be like, I'm like, JJ Watt, that's the man I want. A fucking 6'5" football player. I'm like, that's what I've like always said.
Yeah.
But then I never date that. Even when I've been presented the opportunity, I've been like, like, because again, if that personality is not there, if that like wit, if that it's just like any kind of like comedy or intelligence is not there, then it's for nothing. Yeah, you're a meat suit for me. Like it's not, you know, you're not giving anything else. So I don't. Yeah, to your point, I don't think women have a type. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, we're unpacking a lot here. This is uprooting a lot of my ideals about relationships.
Testing it all. Yeah.
It is testing it. What do you think would lead a man to maybe finding love blind? Like what instance do you think there's certain markers of a woman that if she brings this to the plate, to the table, so to speak, he's going to be more inclined to find her attractive even if he wasn't attracted to her before?
I don't know. That's a great question. I've never witnessed that, so I can't even speak to it because I feel like every guy that I know that's in a partnership or even and especially long-term partnerships were attracted to their partner instantaneously. I can't think of a guy that I know from now or even in the past that was like, oh, I grew to be attracted to her. But I do know that things that they saw in their partner made them more attracted to her. Okay. And I think those are characteristics of her being a good partner, or like I think men need to be taken care of just as women need to be taken care of, and her caring for him in that way. Or like well,
if you had to put a name to those qualities, like if you were, say you're a caretaker, what do you think those specifics would be that you think that men are like,
or in need of?
That is fucking fine, you know?
I think there's something like sexuality I think is important for men too. And I think like a girl like presenting herself sexy, not like I'm not sexual, like not like just like it's not just about sex. It's like maybe in like dance movements or in like or just the way she carries herself that he finds like sensual. Like I think that might be something. I think that most men that I've met like really enjoy somebody that can cook for them. I think that yeah, I don't know. Like, what do you think?
I think
I'm kind of stumped on this.
Yeah,
one.
I'm not trying to stump you. I'm just like
Yeah.
I kind of want to get the conversation going because I'm like, what would constitute for a man's love being blind then? Like if it was truly, if men are going to come in our comments being like, fuck you, love is blind. I'm like, okay, then what would make it blind for you? What are you falling in love with? Is it because I don't think men like funny women. I don't think, sorry. I think
Haters.
they're haters.
Yeah.
I truly think that men are
I think, you know what I think it is? I think when a man wants to be a better man because of a woman, I think that makes him love her even more. And then I think when she cares for him in a way where he can open up and be his truest form of himself that maybe he can't because men tend to not open up to their friends, I think that creates more of a love bond where there's like, I think it's also I don't know. I'm reaching here and I'm like in my brain trying to like say like, but again, I'm doing it from my perspective, trying to see it from a man perspective,
Trying
and
to
then
put
also
yourself.
think of other things that I've seen men talk about. And I think that I've seen like a lot of men say like, yeah, feeling cared for is really big for them.
I think so too. I think being listened to.
Yeah.
I think that's where I feel like a lot of times on dates, I've gotten feedback that feels like I'm an outlier in that way, where I'm like, I don't believe that because I'm like,
Yeah.
I inherently all the women in my life are not like that. But they're like, wow, you really like you really understand, like you really like you let me speak and I feel like I can really open up to you. That's one thing that they're always like, I never feel like I can do that on dates.
Wow.
And I'm like, why? Like, what do you mean?
yeah.
And I'm like, I'm glad that you feel that with me. That's obviously what I would want to promote in any
Yeah,
relationship,
absolutely.
romantic or otherwise. But I'm
Yeah.
like, huh, okay, you feel like that's what you're attracted to. That's great. Like someone
Yeah.
that they can open up to, that's someone that cares for them, like you said, to push them to be better. I think care for like cooking and like someone who will I do think men like women dressing up for them and stuff like that. I think men love that shit. They're like, she put on a dress for me. She got her nails done for me. Like,
Yeah.
I've even sprinkled that into dates, not to psychoanalyze or like test men, but I feel like if I'm like, oh, I got my nails done, and
Yeah.
they're like, oh, beautiful. And if I'm like, oh, I got my nails done, I knew we had a date tonight. Like guys are like, like they perk up a little, like for me. And you're like, yes,
Yeah.
and I feel like that they really like that. But again, I also think that men don't like funny women. I think that they're like threatened by that a little.
Our mutual guy friend that like he said that specifically he wants a girl that's funny.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm getting mine.
Yeah. Will's like, don't use me as a. But it's true. Like, I feel like that's like, like there's a TikTok that I reshared the other day that was like, knowing that you were funnier than most of the men you've dated. It's such a heavy cross to bear. And I was like, I don't even feel that way, but I was like, that inherently is funny. Like that is a funny TikTok.
Yeah.
I'm gonna repost that. Women in STEM. Like I was like, I love it. But I don't think that I've never heard a guy say like I've heard men be like, I can be myself with her, or like we can goof off together, but I've never heard a guy be like, oh dude, she's hilarious and that's why I love her.
That's true. It's never been the reason why.
No.
It's never been the reason why.
No.
It's been like an attribute that is appreciated.
Yes, but it usually has to do with us. Like we can riff off of each other. We can goof off with each other. It's not like she makes me laugh so much. I will actually say my dad says that about my mom. But again, I think he's in the minority there. Like, yeah, and she's not cooking for his ass. She's like, Tom, what are you making? So there's already some gender roles being like shuffled there. I think guys really like women that keep them on their toes too. I think if it's a little too easy, and I hate saying this, but I think men get bored if it's like that. If they like don't have to work at impressing her.
But I think it's almost like keeping them on their toes in certain ways. Like I think if you're intelligent, you keep them on their toes and just kind of like making them think of different things different ways. I think comedy keeps them on their toes because they never know what that quick back is going to be. Yeah. And then I think also dressing sexy keeps them on their toes because they see what they have. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And they should do it too.
They should do it.
They should.
No.
I'm like.
Greasy hair on a date.
Do you have a specific? That was a very
I was just trying to think of an example, and that was the first thing that came to my mind because I was thinking of guys that go on dates that have greasy hair and wearing the bat. Like, it annoys me so much when I see a girl that is dressed to the nines, so beautifully put together, and she's standing next to a slub that obviously rolled out of bed, wrinkly clothes, not taking care of himself, and this is how he's presenting himself with her. That is disgusting. Put some effort in, and I'm done.
I'm like, where's the clown emoji again? I've done that though.
Really?
Like, yes.
Wait, again?
I can't name names,
yeah.
but I've definitely been on dates before.
Ugh.
And like recently, semi-recently, where the guy is like in a baseball cap and, you know, is chilling and like unclear if he showered. Unclear that day.
Not ever in life.
You know, God no. But yeah, I is love blind? I don't know. I'm like, I think it is for me. Like again, to our earlier, we've said this in so many iterations, but truly I come back to when I've been in love, it's always been the whole package. And it's very rarely that I find them attractive. But I will say, and I want to hear if the same phenomenon has happened to you, guys that I didn't initially find attractive, by the end I'm like gobsmacked, like jaw on the floor, begging at the foot of the bed. Like a dog. Sorry, I know I'm not like trying to be weird. But like, you know, I'm like sacrifice my life. I'm here for you, you know? I'm like, yikes. Wow. That's so crazy.
Yeah, the extremities. Yeah.
And now it's funny because I'll find myself again when I had a specific type, even at the bar. I went to the bar last night and there was a guy that was like fully tatted and like a little effeminate and had like his baseball cap and he's like rugged looking. And I was like, ooh, give me that. And I was like months ago, like last year, I probably not would have been attracted to him, but because I dated someone that was like that and I was really into that. And then like I fucking Jedi mind tricked myself that that's hot. Now I'm like, and not that it's not hot, but I'm saying it wasn't initially.
You're right. Yeah.
Like I was
like
never.
Your taste almost changed.
Yes. Yeah. Like I not that I was ever not
girls
attracted.
Don't have a type.
Girls don't have a type. We're just wrapping it all up. But like seriously, I wouldn't have said tattoos were ugly by any means.
Yeah.
But I never was like, I know women that are like,
that's like a turn on.
Yes, they're like, I want a man with a full sleeve, blah, 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 blah. I want tattoos everywhere. Like I remember there was one guy that I'd worked with years ago that was like fully tatted, like every square inch of his body. And I was like, but he was just an attractive man. Like I was like, it wasn't the tattoos.
Right.
And then I think I met, you know, my ex that was fully tatted and I became attracted to him over time and after developing a friendship then relationship. And now when I see tatted guys,
you're like, that's
I'm kind of like, it's not like, oh, bazooka, like that guy. Yeah. Like I need to go to that guy. But I'm more convinced that I find them attractive. And I'm like, God damn it. I'm like, this was not my taste before. And now I'm like, are you a music producer too? I'm just like, oh my God. And like we've always laughed at, like I've never had types, but I've always had archetypes that I've slept with.
This is true.
We're not gonna get into it because I don't want to do the math. I don't want anyone being doing the calculations of how many people I've slept with and how many types. But I've always had archetypes. Yeah. It's been funny.
It's true.
Yeah, like
time periods.
Yes, time periods where I'm like, this is the firefighter era. This is the music producer era. This is the men in uniform era. Like I literally was like,
the evolution.
Yeah, I was
your
like, what's going on here? Like, and I think I Jedi mind tricked me. I'm like, that's hot.
That's
and
what I
then
want.
and then
Yeah.
I kind of cycled
Let
through
me
it.
see which flavor of this works.
And there was a moment in time where I was like, men with dogs? Question mark. And I was like, that's the only thing that's fitting into the. It wasn't an era, but it was funny because there was one guy that I was like, men with dogs? Question mark. So all of that to say, women don't have types, or do they? I don't know.
Maybe some do. I just don't. I don't. Again, this is all of our personal experience,
Yeah.
and like I just don't think I've ever seen a woman like stick to one type. Physical attributes.
I agree. Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
Do you think it would be more beneficial for society to be Love is Blind, or do you think it's
great
more beneficial that we
question.
are procreating with people that we're attracted to?
I think it's better to be attracted to your partner.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. Why?
I will say that the person I'm basing this only on my experience. The person I've loved the most ever in my entire life is Neil, and he's also the partner that I've been the most attracted to.
I love that for you. Where's the clown emoji? Where is it? I can't say the same, dude. But maybe I haven't met my man.
You haven't. Not yet. He's coming.
But continue. Because I love that. I'm so glad that you feel that way.
Yeah, I mean, and for me, it's like
But from gate, right?
from gate.
Okay, because
From
that's the
gate,
difference. Because
yeah.
I'm like, the people that I've been in love with, yeah, like I said, by the end,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, you are the most,
Right.
the person I've been
you
the most
learn
attracted
to like see them that way,
Yes.
yeah. And I think that's how a lot of my relationships were as well
Mhm.
when I was younger. Whereas like this is the first time like I saw him and I was like, oh my God, I'm obsessed with him.
Yeah.
And then it was like I got to know him and I'm like, oh, I love every part of this and this and this and this. And like we're not perfect in any way. Like we're continually growing and working together to be the best that we can be in a relationship. But like I adore that face.
She love it.
I
so
like that
much.
face.
Yeah, well, that's great. That's the goal, right?
I think that's the goal, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, like you said, like I think everybody deserves the package.
Mhm.
And we should all feel that way about our partners.
I completely agree. But it is an interesting thought to be like, do you think we would benefit more from being attracted to our partner or learning the attraction? Because there's so many tropes, right? Even in romance novels and
Maybe it's not better either way. Like everybody's love story is so different and everybody's hearts learn a different way. And so maybe it's not so much like one being better than the other, it being like what's best for you.
I'm ready. Let's go. Let's do a
Yes.
a fine ass man that
he's
also has.
coming.
But I'm just like, yeah, because it is interesting because you, hopefully, any relationship at the end of the day, whether you're not dead, like I've always really, I will like die on that hill of like, you're not going to be like never attracted to another human again
Oh,
after
yeah.
being in a relationship. However, there should be a very large, healthy dose of like, no one does it like them. No one does it like them.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think maybe the attraction from gate would help that. Sometimes when it's earned or not earned, but you know, like where it's developed.
I think for women, it's going to grow regardless. Like, even though, like, I thought that he was super attractive from the time I met him, like, now, like, even more so. Like,
Yeah.
now I'm like, oh my God, like, I won't get it.
You can get into it.
I mean, it's just, like, literally, like everything about him turns me on.
Yeah.
And, like, it's just, it's his heart, it's his body, it's his face, it's, like, his mind. Like,
Yeah.
everything about him turns me on. Like, but I think that obviously the first initial, like, attraction was just his face.
Yeah.
And then, like, now I find him even more attractive because I know so many pieces of him.
Yeah. I'm gonna pivot really quick. I'm like, I feel like, have you ever had moments in relationships or when you're like attracted to someone, maybe
Yeah.
you're just starting to date them, where you're like, oh shit, I'm in trouble because I'm attracted to something weird? Like, have you ever like self-audited like that?
What do you mean attracted to something weird?
I'll explain. Okay, good. Let me wrap myself out. Like, you know, like the back of his neck where you're like, what? Like, that's not even hot. Like, like, if I see a man and I'm attracted to him and then I'm like really attracted to him, I'm dating him and then he does
Is the back of his neck an actual?
Yes, that's something hot to me. I'm like,
Wait, what does it have to look like?
it unclear. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not like it has to look like a certain. It doesn't have to be like a big thick neck or something. Like, it's not like that. But I'm like, I will notice small things or like hands, right? Like where I'm like, hands are objectively not attractive necessarily. But then you're like looking at your man and you're like, those hands. But maybe I'm weird. Like, am I in the minority? I don't know. Because I'm like, that is enough of a turn on that like I've now developed such intense feelings for you that like the smallest things I'm like, ooh, it's getting hot in here, like.
I think that's great.
Okay, so I'm in the minority here.
Wait, so the back of the neck, seriously.
Oh, I joke about that, but like truly, like a back of a man's neck. Oh.
And is it like the top of the hands or the palm of the hands?
Top. It's like
it doesn't even touch you.
I know, but it's like veiny, and if they're big, oh my God. Oh, I can't even talk about it. Maybe. I think someone needs to take me on a date. because something's going on here. The pheromones are hot. I'm like, because a back of a neck? But it's true. I'm being serious. And I wish I was joking. I know I wish I could backpedal a lot right now.
I think it's sweet. I think the fact that you are so attracted to your partner that like something, what's sweet about it is like, that's something nobody else is going to look at.
Totally.
Them. And you're going to, I think what you're falling in that moment for is like the little pieces of them that make up who they are in totality, but it's just like, oh, the back of his neck. Like it's just
she couldn't even say that with like a full straight voice. That was awesome. But it's true. I think you're right. I think if we're gonna look at it in through a very gracious lens, and I appreciate you handling it so sweetly. I think it is similar to like the little things in life, right? You're like you like the things that he does or the thing all that he is, all that they are, instead of. Because, like, I feel like, again, when we've talked about insecurities in the past, like, a lot of the time, those are the things that your partners love. Mm-hmm. And you're just like, God damn it, pick something else. I work hard to do this, this, and this. Like something else. And, I don't think, I think that we get caught up sometimes. So when you do like their insecurities and you can like relay that to them, then you feel more comfortable in being yourself entirely. My last question before we end.
Okay.
Do you think that love is scent blind? Do you think you need to really like the smell
of a person?
Someone? This is just my own question because I'm curious.
Yeah. What do you think?
Yes, I think like not blind. You need to like,
you have to like it.
You need to love the essence of them.
Then again, I think that's evolutionary.
Yeah,
I think there's the pheromones. There's so much like even if it's like not instantaneous for that like scent or what's the word I'm looking for? Not scent, but the way eyes.
Sense. Like
sense. Yeah,
you're talking about like the sense.
Yeah, like the senses.
Yeah.
Even if it's not like immediate, like there's just something about the smell of a person, even without like perfume, cologne, lotions, like that if you smell them and you love them, that calms your soul. Like, I feel like your heart slows down.
Oh yeah. Something about being in the nook of a man and you smell just his body and you're just like,
and everybody has such a specific scent too. That's like, it's like loving that person so much like that. Oh,
yeah. This is a funny anecdote, but like, my really good friend Noah, one of my best friends. Yeah. She the other day was like, "You want to hear something funny?" I was like, "What?" She goes, "I thought that one of your scents was like old leather," and I was like, "Where is this going?" But I have a bunch of vintage leather jackets that she'll borrow sometimes, and she just bought her first vintage leather jacket, and she said she put it on, and she was like, "This smells like Maddie," and then she was like, "No, it smells like vintage leather, and I've always associated that with Maddie." And I was like, "Oh, that's really sweet. I was like, that's funny that you thought old leather is what I smell like. I was like, maybe I need to rebrand here. But I thought it was so sweet because like she associated that scent with me. She literally was like, why does it smell like Maddie? Like after buying a vintage jacket. And then she was like, oh no, this is just Maddie's jackets. They all smell like this. And I think we all do that. Like I think there's scent association. I think it's with memories, and I think it can be with adoration too. Like the smell of someone can put you at ease, like you said, and you can also. I've like if a man smells good, I'm already immediately a little more attracted to you. Yeah. I'm like, who smells
What's the best
good?
scent you've ever smelled?
Oh, I say this on my deathbed, and like eucalyptus mint smells so good, and it smells like a man to me. Like I remember again, like there's been so many moments in time where like That's So Raven like tunnel of like I see into the future, but I'm like, oh, you're a straight woman is like from a very young age. I had so many moments of that of like. I love men. And that was one of them. I remember smelling a like eucalyptus mint candle when I was young and being like, this smells like a really attractive man. I didn't know any man that smelled like that, but I was just like, this is a man smell.
So
like scent. This smells
How
so
old
good.
were you?
Young. Too young. 9 probably. I bet you like around there, like where I was like, this smells like a man. And girl wants to burn it. You know, I was like, what? Like you're not even gonna touch a man for 9 more years, bitch. Chill. But I think that is what smells good to me for a man. What about you?
I think the best cologne I've ever smelled is Tom Ford.
Oh.
It's like it's oil based too, so it lasts like a long time, and it feels like it just smells manly.
Yeah.
I know.
It's rugged.
Yeah.
And I think that is something that I'm always so like that's one of the best compliments I could receive is when someone tells me I smell good.
You always smell good. You do.
I'll marry you on the spot. Okay. Stop it. Stop it right now.
That was the whole point of this episode. Thanks, guys.
Love is blind, and it is also platonic. So yeah, you want to wrap us up?
Yeah. So to wrap us up, love might be blind, and it might not be blind. In my opinion, it is not for women, and it is blind for women and not for men. Get it together, Ruth.
No.
We had so much fun here today, guys. We would love to hear your opinion on this. If you have stories of the opposite, or if that you've experienced something completely different from what our opinions were, mine or Madd's, let us know. We want to hear. And what you grateful for?
I'm grateful for socks.
Socks?
Because my feet are cold so often. And I just saw Will's socks and I was like, I want socks on right now. I feel much more cozy.
Okay,
I'm just like a cozy girl, you know?
We'll get you those. We'll get you cozy.
You?
I am grateful for how green the trees have been with all the rain.
What a beautiful... Who are you? Bob Ross. And it's okay if you mess up.
Put a little tree right here.
Just put a little tree right here. Look at how green these trees are. That's you right now. Yes. That's beautiful.
That's my spirit animal.
I love that. I love that so much. Well, thank you guys for being along for this chaotic ride.
We hope you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to comment, subscribe, and like, and we'll see you next week on Femme Tell All.
Thank you so much.